This is the Golden Gate. It's the east gate. It's known as the Mercy Gate to Jerusalem. As you can tell, it's been sealed up for a long, long time.
The gate once said to remain sealed until the return of Jesus has begun to stir, and not by human effort, not by random chance, but by something beyond this world. What we're witnessing is more than stone and mortar shifting. It feels like prophecy in motion. This is no ordinary gateway. For centuries, believers have said it will open only for the most significant arrival in human history. And now, whispers are spreading through temples, churches, and mosques. Pilgrims are flocking to Jerusalem, not just as tourists, but because the impossible may be unfolding before their very eyes. The Golden Gate of Jerusalem, sealed for 500 years, untouched while every other entrance to the Old City has been repaired or rebuilt, stands at the center of this mystery. It has withstood sultans, empires, and centuries of destruction, defying all attempts to alter it. More than a monument, it has become a symbol of divine timing, waiting for an appointed moment rather than human intervention. This gate faces directly toward the Mount of Olives, the very place prophecy says the Messiah will one day return. In Jewish tradition, their Messiah will enter through it. In Christianity, it is believed that Jesus himself will pass through this threshold. Two great faiths, bound by one extraordinary expectation, holding their breath as they watch the same gate. And now, cracks appear. The silence of centuries is breaking. Could this be the first sign of something far greater about to unfold? If you want to uncover the hidden history, the prophecy behind this gate, and why what's happening right now matters more than ever, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because what comes next could change everything. What's shaking prophetic circles right now is unlike anything we've seen in centuries. After 500 years of silence, something has shifted. Local witnesses speak of strange activity near the sealed gate. Leaders from multiple faiths have rushed into private meetings, and perhaps, most telling, mainstream media is silent. Because when prophecy begins to stir, it doesn't arrive with headlines or press releases. It moves quietly, in whispers, in subtle signs that only those watching carefully can recognize. Reports are now circulating that the inner chambers have been quietly reopened. No official announcements, no grand unveiling, just a hidden awakening that has both believers and skeptics pausing in uneasy anticipation. If the ancient prophecies are true, this isn't just a historical event. It could signal something apocalyptic. To understand why, we need to go back to 1541. The Ottoman ruler, Suleiman the Magnificent, didn't seal the Golden Gate on a whim. Newly translated Ottoman records reveal a chilling detail. The Sultan was haunted by recurring dreams. Night after night, he saw a mysterious figure approaching Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives, entering through the eastern gate and transforming the entire city. Troubled by these visions, he turned to Jewish rabbis, Christian priests, and Islamic scholars for answers. To his shock, all three traditions pointed to the same conclusion. This gate was tied to the end of days. Its opening was no ordinary matter. It was connected to events of ultimate cosmic significance. So Suleiman acted. He didn't just brick up the gate. He tried to lock away prophecy itself. But he went even further. He ordered a Muslim cemetery to be built directly in front of the gate, creating a double barrier. For Jewish priests, the graves represented ritual impurity, blocking their approach. For others, the graves meant something far more daunting. When the Messiah came, he would have to raise the dead to clear the way. What the Sultan intended as prevention may, in fact, have been preparation. What he built as an obstacle may have been used as part of the divine plan. Because prophecy often works through resistance, turning human opposition into its very stage. And here lies the most profound twist. By placing those graves before the gate, Suleiman may have set the ultimate test of messianic authority. Only someone with power over life and death could pass. Only someone able to command resurrection itself could claim this entrance. The Sultan who thought he could silence prophecy may have, unknowingly, scripted the most dramatic fulfillment of it yet. 2,000 years ago, Jesus chose a very deliberate path into Jerusalem. He came from the Mount of Olives, he rode a donkey, and he entered through the eastern gate. None of this was by chance. It was prophecy unfolding with exact precision. Centuries earlier, the prophet Zechariah had written, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Your king is coming to you, humble and riding on a donkey." Zechariah 9:9. That moment was fulfilled in Jesus' first coming. But the prophecy doesn't stop there. Zechariah 14:4 looks ahead to his return. On that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, facing Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives will be split in two. The same mountain, the same direction, the same gate. But this time, not as a humble servant on a donkey, but as the conquering king whose footsteps split mountains. The gate that once welcomed the Prince of Peace will one day welcome the King of Kings. The threshold that received the sacrificial lamb will one day receive the Lion of Judah. Same stage, same setting, but a completely different kind of entrance. Now, you can see why every attempt to alter or reopen this gate has mysteriously failed. This isn't just an ancient wall, it's heaven's appointed doorway for the most important arrival in human history. Consider the record. 1917. Muslim leaders planned to demolish the Eastern Gate. That very day, British forces captured Jerusalem, stopping the destruction in its tracks. 1967. During the Six-Day War, Israeli forces had control of the gate and considered reopening it. A rabbi intervened, warning that only the Messiah may enter. The plan was dropped. 1993. Peace negotiators decided to symbolically open the gate as a gesture of reconciliation. But the night before the ceremony, both Israeli and Palestinian leaders reported having the same dream, a figure standing at the gate, shaking his head saying, "Not yet. Not by your hands." The event was abruptly cancelled. For prophetic watchers, these moments are chilling. These weren't ordinary political reversals or technical issues. It's as if unseen wisdom was steering leaders away from interfering. And it doesn't stop there. Ottoman engineers once tried to alter the gate structure. Their tools mysteriously failed. British archaeologists began excavating near the foundations, suddenly reassigned without explanation. Jordanian forces even considered using it as a military stronghold in 1948, but the plan was abandoned. Time and again, every attempt has been blocked, diverted, or simply dissolved into thin air. Not by coincidence, but by design. Because this gate is not just stone and history, it is a doorway reserved for destiny. Every attempt to tamper with the Golden Gate has ended the same way: failure. Drill bits snap. Explosives misfire. It's as if the gate itself refuses interference, guarded by something greater than human strength, holding it in place until its appointed prophetic moment arrives. Look closely at Jerusalem's old city, and you'll see the marks of age everywhere: weathering, erosion, the natural decay of centuries. Yet the Golden Gate seems different. Stonemasons who have examined it describe its preservation as unnatural, even impossible. It's as if time itself slows down around this sacred threshold. Then came 2019. During Ramadan, a maintenance worker reported something no one expected: voices, prayers echoing from inside the sealed chambers. Yet those chambers have been closed for centuries. Security cameras, which monitor every inch of the Temple Mount, mysteriously failed, only in the area around the Golden Gate. At the very moment the voices were heard, the footage vanished. There is no official record of what happened. Still, a handful of grainy photographs surfaced. They show a strange, flickering light inside the sealed chambers, a light with no natural source. Witnesses described it as pulsing, almost like a heartbeat, radiating from within. Religious authorities from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam were quietly consulted. None of them offered a public statement. Instead, each requested the images be kept private. Whatever they saw, whatever they believed it meant, they chose silence. What's most striking isn't just the activity itself, it's the response. Normally, any unusual incident around the Temple Mount sparks immediate investigations, press releases, even international headlines. But this time? Absolute silence. No acknowledgement, no explanations, not even a denial, just an official wall of silence. And sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. Because prophecy doesn't arrive like breaking news. It doesn't announce itself with headlines and sirens. It moves quietly, through patterns that look like coincidences, but aren't. Through dreams given to different people at the same time. Through ancient scriptures suddenly revealing fresh meaning. Jesus himself warned that his return would be like the days of Noah, life moving along as usual, right up until the moment everything changes. That same principle echoes here. The inner chambers of the Golden Gate reportedly opening while the exterior remains sealed. First, the hidden awakening, then the visible manifestation. First, the quiet preparation, then the public revelation. First, the whisper, then the shout. What's stirring inside the Golden Gate may be the spiritual preparation for a physical fulfillment still to come. And those paying attention are noticing. Local religious leaders speak of heightened spiritual activity around the Temple Mount. More people are reporting prophetic dreams centered on Jerusalem. More unusual signs are being observed in nature, and more current events are lining up with ancient prophecies in ways too precise to ignore. For 500 years, the gate's silence has been its sermon. Its sealed stones have preached a message of divine timing and patient endurance. But now that silence is beginning to shift. That stillness is beginning to stir. And the truth is, the gate doesn't have to swing wide open to speak. Even the smallest movement sends shockwaves through prophetic communities who understand what it could mean. The Golden Gate and the Mount of Olives stand aligned, face to face, like a mirror held up to prophecy, waiting for the moment when heaven's timing finally becomes earth's reality. From the Golden Gate, your eyes rest directly on the Mount of Olives. And from the Mount of Olives, you see straight back to the Golden Gate. Perfect alignment. No other location in Jerusalem shares this kind of mirror-like vantage point. But what makes this even more extraordinary goes beneath the surface. Both the gate and the mountain sit on the same continuous limestone bedrock. They are geologically connected underground. So when the prophet Zechariah declared that the Mount of Olives would one day split in two, he wasn't just painting a symbolic picture. He was describing an event that would shake the entire geological structure linking these prophetic sites. Modern science is beginning to confirm what prophecy spoke long ago. Seismologists have mapped an active fault line running directly beneath the Mount of Olives, stretching toward the Golden Gate itself. And in recent years, surveys have picked up unusual microtremors along this fault line, tiny vibrations happening more often than ever before. Geologists admit the patterns don't fit normal tectonic explanations. And that matters, because Jerusalem is no ordinary city. It appears in biblical prophecy more than 800 times, more than any other place on earth. But here's the key. Most of those references point not to its past, but to its future. At the very center of these prophetic visions stands the Golden Gate. It isn't just a historical entrance. It is the threshold between this present age and the age to come. A doorway of destiny, waiting for its appointed moment. And as we look at the world today, current developments read less like coincidence and more like a prophetic checklist. The Sanhedrin has been re-established, prophetic alignments are converging, and the gate still stands, sealed yet stirring, watching and waiting for the moment when prophecy turns to reality. The pieces are falling into place. Temple vessels have been recreated. Red heifer candidates are being raised and prepared. The Jewish calendar is approaching key prophetic time markers, and global politics are aligning in ways that echo ancient scripture. Through it all, The Golden Gate stands silent, watching, waiting, preserved not for preparation, but for the moment when preparation becomes fulfillment. For the Jewish people, this is the gate through which their Messiah will one day enter to restore Israel. For Christians, it is the very threshold through which Jesus will return in his second coming. For Muslims, it is known as Bab al-Rahmah, the Gate of Mercy, acknowledged as a place of deep spiritual significance. 3 great faiths, 3 theological perspectives, 3 different names, yet all tied to the same hope. And perhaps the most revealing name comes from Hebrew, Sha'ar HaRachamim, the Gate of Mercy, not the Gate of Wrath, not the Gate of Destruction, the Gate of Mercy. When it opens, prophecy suggests it will not unleash chaos, but bring divine compassion at humanity's darkest hour. In recent years, something remarkable has begun to happen. Interfaith meetings in Jerusalem have quietly included discussions about this very gate. Rabbis, Christian pastors, and Islamic scholars sitting together, all sensing that something significant is drawing near. They may not agree on who will walk through it, but they all feel that the waiting is almost over. That shared awareness is itself prophetic. Leaders from 3 of the world's largest religions arriving at the same conclusion about the same location at the same time. And history has proven one thing: no empire has ever succeeded in destroying this gate. No ruler who tried to control it remained in power. Every attempt to open it prematurely has been blocked, not by human hands, but by a higher hand. Because this gate does not belong to kings or governments. It belongs to prophecy itself. For 2,000 years, it has stood as a monument of waiting, a testimony to divine timing, a physical reminder that God's promises may feel delayed, but they are never denied. Every day it remains sealed is another day of mercy extended to humanity. Every passing year adds another layer to the sermon its silence preaches. That prophecy will be fulfilled in God's perfect time. Its silence has preached louder than any sermon about God's sovereignty. Its resistance to human interference has declared more strongly than any theology that some doors can only be opened by the one who holds the keys. Prophecy, though, is never rushed. It is patient, precise, and unstoppable. What prophecy declares, prophecy fulfills, not on our schedules, but on God's, which is always perfect. The gate that has stood sealed for centuries is beginning to stir. It does not open like an ordinary door. It awakens like a living prophecy. Bricks cannot bar it. Stones cannot contain it. Even graves laid before it cannot prevent it. When God ordains something, creation itself shifts to make it happen. And right now, the signs are converging. Seismic activity is rising along the fault line beneath the Mount of Olives. Global politics are aligning with ancient scripture. World events are unfolding exactly as Jesus warned they would in the last days. Spiritual intensity is growing around the Temple Mount. At the center of it all, the Golden Gate shows its first signs of stirring in 500 years. Something is moving in the unseen realm. The same spirit that inspired prophets to write of this gate thousands of years ago is stirring again today. The same divine hand that preserved it through empires, wars, and centuries is preparing it for its ultimate moment. The stones are shifting, the seals are straining, the silence is breaking. After half a millennium of waiting, the Golden Gate of Jerusalem is awakening from its prophetic sleep. And when it opens, when the one who holds the keys returns to step through that ancient threshold, everything changes forever. For 500 years it has been sealed by men, but preserved by God. Not to keep the Messiah out, but to reserve the moment of his entry for maximum impact on a watching world. The countdown isn't written on clocks or calendars. The countdown is hidden in the stirring of ancient stones, waiting for the day they fulfill their ultimate purpose. The question is, are you ready? Because whether the world is prepared or not, the gate is awakening. Prophecies are aligning. The whispers are growing into rumbles. And when the King of Kings finally steps through that gate, The world will witness the fulfillment of the greatest promise ever made. That moment may be closer than anyone dares to imagine.